area will count. Does that make sense? Okay. We're going to look at a footnote. It is on page 93 on the top left. It's located under life sciences with an asterisk. An asterisk or a plus sign? A plus sign, sorry. Thank you. Can somebody read that under the life sciences?
Only one of these first courses may be taken for general education credit.
And what 3 courses are? Are you reading the footnote?
Yeah, so you can take Geography 101,
There we go.
Geography 103, or Anthropology 101.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so only one course of those 3 will be accepted for science. Geog 101, 103, or AMP 101. So it's important to stress to the student to read all of the information. They need to be aware of the limitations and the exceptions. So there's provisions, but there's also limitations. Every single year, I get freshmen, we get freshmen in our office that are very upset because they have taken Anthropology 101 and one of the geographies, and now they have to go back and take an extra class. So it's really important to stress to students to read footnotes and read those special provisions. All right? Everyone good so far? Awesome. So that's it for the lower division GE requirements. So on page 94, on the right-hand side, is number 3. This is American institutions. So you'll remember from last week, this is both a graduation requirement and a GE requirement. So what will happen when the student takes their 2 courses for the graduation requirement, we will automatically pull one of those and we'll stick it here in the GE. So that'll happen automatically. Beneath that is number 4, which is explorations of human experience. So explorations means upper division. So foundations is lower division GE, explorations are upper division GE. Also, an easy way to remember is they're all numbered 300 level and above, so you automatically know they're upper division. Okay. So there's some paragraphs before the natural sciences area. So the first paragraph, can somebody read that? It starts with, wait a second. Yeah, it's in bold. So it starts with courses in this area. Can you read that for me? Yes, thank you.
Courses in this area must not be taken sooner than the semester in which you achieve upper division standing, 60 units passed. Upper division courses in the major department may not be used to satisfy general education section 4, explorations of human experience. Courses in a student's major, collaborative/cross-listed, same courses as, may not be used in section 4, explorations of human experience.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, so explorations can only be taken in the semester a student is achieving 60 units earned. So in the semester they're becoming a junior. They cannot take before. It won't clear the requirement. So they can take it in the semester they're earning 60 units or thereafter. Courses in your major department cannot be used to satisfy explorations. So if you're a sociology major, your department courses are soc courses. If you're a chemistry major, your department courses are chem courses. Does that make sense? Yes.
Is that true for your minor as well? Like your minor
No, but we're
requirements?
going to talk about that when we talk about major and minor requirements next week. Yeah. Any other questions on that? Yes.
Can you repeat that, please?
Yeah. So you cannot take courses from your major department to satisfy explorations. So if you're a sociology major, you can't clear explorations with soc courses because that's from your department. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Then there is the 3rd paragraph. So the first paragraph was bolded, and there's second, and then there's the 3rd. So it starts with complete one course. Can I have a volunteer read that, please? Somebody from the back table? Oh, no, never mind, go ahead.
Complete one course each in areas A, B, and C, 9 units.
course must be a course in cultural diversity designated by an asterisk. Majors in departments of astronomy, biology, chemistry, and biochemistry, computer science, engineering, environmental sciences, geological sciences, mathematics and statistics, natural science, nursing, and physics may replace the Area A course with an additional course from Area B or C, or an upper division American Institutions course if American Institutions requirement was not completed within the lower division course.
Okay, perfect. So this gives you directions on what you need for this area B. So you need 9 units, you need 1 from each of the 3 areas, area A, B, and C. At least one of these courses needs to be marked with an asterisk if you're looking in the catalog, because that means it's culturally diverse. So one of the 3 must be culturally diverse. All 3 could be culturally diverse, and that's okay, just one of the 3 must. And again, there's a special provision for those in science and related fields. So just an example of extra things the student will want to read. Okay. So now we know the requirement, we know the provision, now let's talk about a limitation. So if I could have a volunteer read the second paragraph, it starts with no more than 7 units. Yes, thank you.
No more than 7 units total may be taken in any one department in foundations of learning and explorations of human experience combined. And no more than 10 units may be taken in any one department in foundations of learning, American institutions, and explorations of human experience combined.
So there are limitations. Okay. Any questions so far? Yes.
So you can only take 1 class from each A, B, and C? Like, can you take 2 and B, 1 and?
No. So if you're following the standard pattern, then your requirements are 1 from area A, 1 from area B, 1 from area C. If you are in any of these majors that are listed here, starting with astronomy, yeah, then you can do the provision, which is an additional area from B or C instead of A, or an upper division American institution, if not already completed with lower division. But only students in those majors that are listed can take advantage of that special provision. All other students have to follow the standard pattern, which is 1 from A, B, and C. Does that make sense? Yes?
I'm a little confused, I don't understand what the 7 and 10 units.
Yeah, we're about to go into that in much more detail. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right, we get to move on? All right, perfect. Okay, so let's talk about that. Let's talk about the general education requirements and the limitations. So we're gonna look at page 92. So this has some additional information about EE and important limitations that we need you to note. So if I could have a volunteer to read number 1 and number 2 aloud. Maybe somebody from the back table? Anybody? Thank you.
Communication and critical thinking.
So page 92, top left, the general education requirements and limitations.
1 and 2.
So number 1 and 2.
No more than 12 units from one department can be used in general education, and no more than 7 units from one department can be used in sections 2 and 4 combined. Foundations of learning and explorations of human experience. No more than 10 units from one department in sections 2, 3, and 4 combined. Foundations of learning, American institutions, and explorations of human experience.
Perfect, thank you. So let's talk about that a little bit more. So first of all, this maximum is different than if your major leads to a Bachelor of Arts liberal arts and science degree. So this maximum is different than the maximum allowed, or the maximum of 48 units in your major department. Okay? Does that make sense so far? Okay. So we talked about the maximum of 48 units in your major department for majors that lead to a DA degree in liberal arts and science. These maximums that we're talking about in general education is different than that maximum, okay? Is that?
No, that makes sense.
Okay, perfect. Okay. So this limitation is referring to the amount of units you are completing from any one department. So AMP, biology, psych, Africana studies, within general education. So this limitation is referring to the amount of units you're completing from any one department within general education. And the whole point of this is we want general education to be from diverse disciplines and perspectives. We don't want a student to take all anthropology in the GE, because that goes against the very foundation of general education. Okay, it's supposed to round out the bachelor's degree. Does that make sense? Okay. So here's a visual that might help you understand it. So we start with a max of 12 units. So only 12 units in one department across all of GE. So using that example of anthropology, so think of it that you're only allowed a maximum of 12 units of anthropology across all of GE. Okay? Then the next rule is the max 10 units. So this is you're only allowed 10 units from one department, no more than 10 units from one department across foundations, American institutions, and explorations. And then the max 7 units is no more than 7 units from one department across foundations and explorations. So let's go back up to the top. When I say max 12 units across all GE, I'm referring to foundations, American institutions, explorations, and what else? What's not listed in those? No? Anybody? Communication and critical thinking, that's correct. So that's what we're talking about when we say all GE, because that's all of GE, right? And then the 10 units, those 3 areas, so lower division is foundations, upper division is explorations, and then your American institutions. And then the 7 units is coming from foundations, lower division GE, and then exploration, upper division GE. Okay, yes?
So these are all kind of like separate maximums for like each separate thing you're talking about. It's like,
Well, if
so when you're talking about GP, it's only max 12 units and that's one thing. But then if you're talking about, I just need a little bit more clarification.
So when I say all of GE, you can't take more, let's use anthropology as our example. You can't take more than 12 units across all of GE. So when I say all of GE, I'm talking about communication, critical thinking, foundations, American institutions, and explorations. Okay? And then the next rule is 10 units, no more than 10 units across the 3, foundations, American institutions, explorations. And then the 7 units is no more than 7 units across foundations, explorations. Does that make sense? We're going to go through some examples, so it might start to click as we go through those. Yes?
So what happens if you exceed that then for number 2 and 4
It
for
won't count.
anthropology?
So let's say you took 2 courses in foundations. You took 2 anthropology courses. You took an Anthro 101 for your science, and you took an Anthro 103 for your social and behavioral. And then if that student tries to go take an upper division anthropology for their upper division GE, will it count? No, because they've exceeded the maximum unit. So it will not clear on their degree evaluation. They'll have to go take a different course. Does that make sense? Perfect. Yes.
Does web portal or anything give you an indication that you're like?
No, that's why I'm teaching this to you, because we have to teach the students. Yeah, so all of that information is on page 92, and we do go through it in the degree requirements presentation, but that's why we're teaching you this, because we need you to be able to be reminding you students of these rules. Otherwise, they'll forget. Okay? Good so far? Awesome. All right, so we used that example already. Okay, so now let's look at some more examples. So let's turn to page 263. For the geography major, we're looking in the prep for major. So the prep for geography major includes Geography 101. So this is 3 units that will satisfy the GE physical science and major prep. The Geog 101 lab is 1 unit that will satisfy the GE lab science. Then they need Geography 102 or Geography 106. This is 3 units that will satisfy the GE social science. And then they need Geography 104, 3 units that will satisfy GE math. So we can always double dip